All right, now we're on. Ew, some of these fountain things are gross. We're onion now.
What did you say, Terry?
Oh my God, Terry, I can't believe you said that. I'm right there, fetch that.
That's nice and warm. Oh, Neil's not here yet. Hmm? I'll call him.
They still have 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
I'm just messing with him now.
Well, I throw you off. That's from here. You're gonna sit out there.
And that means I don't have to talk. I'll go home.
Because I'm gonna have to put Danielle here.
Stuff like that.
I don't think she's coming.
You don't think she is?
I heard, I think
She's the only one I'm missing.
she declined. I think that's what Nikki told me.
Okay. Well, see, they didn't tell me that.
I just overheard.
Always the last to know.
Okay.
Now, she'll probably walk in now, but I think she did tell me that.
That's surely not Danielle.
5:30.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay, by the time according to the clock on the wall, it's about 5:30, so we're gonna go ahead and call the Community Redevelopment Advisory Committee meeting for April 13th, 2021. We call to order. At this time, Mr. Young, if you will call the roll, please.
Danielle Decker. Leanne Hines,
Here.
Lester McCellum,
Here.
Janet Moses, Melinda Moses,
Here.
Gloria Spivey,
Here.
Mayor Witt,
Here.
Chairman Jefferson,
Here.
Mr. Coberline,
Here.
Mr. Helfenberger.
Here. Okay, thank you.
Matt Van is here too.
Ah, good. She left it off the list.
Been a while since we had a list.
Okay, next we move into approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Your second.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the agenda as well as a second. All in favor of the motion, let's receive it by saying aye. Like sign, nay. Okay, public comments. Are there anyone from the public that wants to address the committee?
Sir, would that be on about the skate park or can we speak on anything, or will I have an opportunity to do that later?
Well, you can if you would like, whatever you want to address. Do you want to wait until we get to that portion of it? Or
Yes,
is it-
sir. That's fine. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Sorry to interrupt.
okay. Warren? Warren?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if you would, I think most of us are here for the skate park and the walking park, and if you would, could we address it at that time? I think 14 and 15 is what us group is here for.
Okay. Okay, moving along. Update and discussions and action items. Item 1, included in the package is a CRA map for your information. I'm not sure whether there's any extra copies right there or not, but included in the package here is a map identifying the coverage area of the CRA. Moving on to item 2, approval of the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of February 13th, 2020.
I second it.
A motion and a second on approval of the minutes. All in favor of approval of the minutes, proceed by aye.
Aye.
Opposes like sign. The ayes carry. Update on the Sally Mae Jerry Park. Who wants to do that?
Right, Thomas, you want to go up there or say it from here?
You can come up there. There, make sure everybody hear you.
Public Works Director. Sally Mae Jerry Park's coming along. We got 75% of the sidewalk installed. The stage has been built. There's a few little oddment things you guys finished, but I want to do it right now. Under construction, because it may be hit or whatnot, while we're moving heavy equipment around there. As I don't know if anybody's been by it, we started to frame up the bathrooms today. And the roof will be going up tomorrow, and then walls for so forth going on there. One of the other things I was wanting to bring up, Mr. Hefferberger and I discussed about bringing up the LED sign. I don't know if you should have it in the package that Councilman Green brought up about having it installed down there. Just want to get the approval. I've got with the community that's in the area that's, you know, asking for all this good stuff. And it's park's gonna look amazing. I mean, I'm real excited about it. So this is just a color picture, a full colored thing that we could do anything with it. We can program it. I can do it off the cell phone. I can do it at home. Work. I can program anything in there. If there's a boiling water notice or an event going on in town, anything we can program. So that's why, you know, we're asked to do a colored LED. At the time, right this moment, the one price I did get, and I just want to make sure that you want to keep moving forward on it, is almost $14,000 for this one sign. The LEDs are very expensive. I believe some of y'all were on the board when we did the Welcome Lake City signs. And we were supposed to have LEDs on them where we can let the community know what's going on, but due to funding, we had to cut them off, if you remember. Yes. So, but this here, I mean, it's a very, very busy intersection. I mean, more I've been up there doing all this legwork up there at the park, and we're fixing also we're fixing to put sprinkler system in too. Up there, I got all my to help for that. But that's what we did. But I think it's a very reasonable price. And like I said, I'll still have to get a few more quotes to go with this one.
And this is two-sided.
It's one side. It's going to be fixed catty corner, Long Street and Marion Street. You get a two-sided, you're looking at double cost.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
So
So you gonna
we're
do it
talking about
diagonal?
doing diagonal.
I have a question.
The fencing is going to go right up to it.
Placing it diagonally, you'll be able to see it from either one of those streets.
Either one's around the corner and all of that.
I have a question, not necessarily about the sign, but obviously we have 16 items where we're gonna be talking about spending money. So before we get to the first one to approve anything, can we have an updated accounting of the fund itself?
Okay,
In the CRA, we had budgeted $492,000 for construction type projects. It was undesignated. Today we've spent a little under 100,000 so far with the park improvements that have been approved. We do have funds obviously for $14,000. We're looking at the total of these projects here would still be well under that amount, so you'd have some funds available for other things.
So as of right now, we're at 392, and then we're gonna start ticking off as we go down.
Yes.
Yeah, I look forward to remember the CRA committee and the council agreed to move forward on the speaker system throughout Wilson Park, and they have been finished Friday, this past Friday. So,
Mr. Chairman, has that money been deducted from this amount, what we spent for the speakers? Okay. May I ask a question? When the last time we met, which has been a while, I know personally face to face, we had talked about some of these improvements in this park. I don't remember anything about a sign. And my question is, if we're gonna put a sign there, are we gonna put a sign in some of the other parks around town? You know, that, and Wilson Park, this is just a very nice sign. I have no problems with that, but I just want to make sure that we're looking at the whole area.
well, the Wilson Park, if you don't mind, the Wilson Park, we did approve to do a sign. If you remember, they're gonna look just like the ones, the welcome sign, but we never came back after that to approve, yes, this is what we want.
Will it be an LED sign?
No, man, it looked just like what we have, out there on Main in North Town.
Could I ask a question? If we talked about, because I think it's important that when we talked about it before, to do the signs as you come into Lake City about what's going on. You know, if we got with this company, could we work a deal if we did 3 signs instead of just the one?
Yes, I can do that.
Just find out if there's a,
See if we can do a group right, yeah. I can do that.
because I know a lot of people were really looking forward to that, because with so many activities going on, hopefully in the near future, that would be very helpful coming in to Lake City.
Yeah, 90 being a high traffic road, North Town being high traffic, yes, it would.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
Okay.
Thank you. And I'd like to extend even on that, because I feel like if we do that, we don't need 3 signs, because what you're saying that sign at Sally Mae Park will be used for bulletins and all. If you got an LED sign down there on the main entrance to sign, you wouldn't really need it.
So we could just use the Sally Mae sign as the one coming in.
Yeah, or even not even use it as the LED sign, just do a regular sign, put the LED on the entrance signs to Marion Street that are gonna be honestly more visible, I feel like.
Mr. Chairman, so you're talking about entrance signs that are already there, north and, okay. Well, that was our original plan.
I remember we had to cut it back,
Yeah.
whatever it was, 2010,
Right.
2019.
What type of expected upkeep
On
on an LED sign, no matter where it's placed?
They, he really, I mean, basically everything we can do except once you get to, lighting going out, the LEDs, but they last pretty long. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me see if I may have this quote, the warranty on it. No, there's no warranty on this quote, but I will ask him on that. I'll get some more info on it.
One of the reasons for having that sign lit up coming in is because we anticipated that with the development of the industrial park, right off of 10, that would be a main entrance coming into the city. And we have Warner Enterprises out there. City just completed a loop water along with the county and Warner, all 3 participated in the construction. That we need some entrance going into the downtown.
I think it would speak volume to that area as well, since it's a new park. And we upgrade the lighting facility out there with the LED. and make it more visible to people like city manager saying coming into Lake City from that area. I think it's a great idea, and it's got enough money in the budget to do it, so if we want to do one or two, we do two, then we got one up on this end as well.
Okay, I'll look into all of it and get it, come back to the board.
So what are you saying, Thomas, then you're gonna talk, try to get a quote for
I'll
multiple signs?
yes, sir, I'll go ahead and try to get a group quote for all the signs. And then I'll still work on the Sally Mae one by itself too, separate, just in case we come back to the board and we're saying, well, we can't afford it right now. At least we'll move forward on Sally Mae. So we'll have both. Got them all highlighted.
Okay. Any more questions that relates to, Sally Mae?
That 14,000, that's installed.
That's installed, everything. Programmed, everything, and training. I'm with you.
That's company installed, they will do the installation. Okay. Okay, if no other questions on the Sally Mae, Garrett Park, Wilson Park, we're gonna move on to Young's Park. You're gonna give us the updates on that?
Anything on Wilson Park? I mean, last time we met, we approved the sprinkler system. Now it's all been installed and established. And I said earlier, the PA system was just finally completed Friday. And we've been through it. Terry Phillips and myself went out there today and tried singing on it.
Yeah.
So you can hear it throughout the whole park. You can set them at different areas. You just want, like, say, where we call the food court, where the parking lot is. I mean, you can set it just for that. Or we call it the walk trail, or even down there by the amphitheater seat. So you can set them individual or all. And all we gotta do is get a laptop with some kind of music playing on it. So I'll be getting with IT on that. And all we have to do is plug it in and play like Christmas carols throughout the whole day. If you want to do something like that,
Very nice, thank you.
some kind of music or whatnot.
And all the lighting's there.
All the lights are all, yes.
Good job.
What about the sign for that? If we move forward with that?
Well, the sign, that's what I said, we never did come back to the board, to y'all, and say, okay, this is officially what we want. And it's been a while, so I need to bring that back to you. I have that information with me, should have brought it. But we need to get back on that road, start getting quotes. Because that was approved by this committee.
You had previously gotten some quotes on that?
I got one quote from the original designer that did do the job and installed it. And off the top of my head, I can't remember, this is what you remember. But I do still have that information.
Mr. Henry, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Where are we with band shell?
The band shell, the CRA has, they're supposed to be contacting us to do a site visit, I think within the next week or two. They're supposed to come in, all that information we turned it in a year and a half ago, 2 years ago almost. And with the COVID, everything's been kind of sitting back. Well, now they're starting to move. And we got a confirmation from an email, like a week or two from now, they're supposed to come and do a site visit. And then we'll start moving from there. But you gotta remember, when we did the CRA grant fund, when we turned it in, the prices will probably change because we turned in for that amphitheater and the water fountain. So all the construction's going up right now. I mean, it's crazy right now. I mean, 2x4 is almost $10. Now we're used to pay $2.39. So with all that, so we just gotta see what's going to happen. So I just want to make sure you're aware of, you get back to the water fountain.
Mr. Jefferson.
But
the price right now, you're only gonna get the amphitheater.
Yes, way it looks.
And that money was set aside for the amphitheater. That would not come from this.
That would be through
the
a
grant.
block grant for economic development. And there's about 20,000 left on a grant from the TDC. The other TDC grant was 150,000, 130,000 was done with design engineering.
Okay, update on Young's Parks basketball court.
Want to do this?
I'm sorry, tennis court.
Okay, the tennis courts, as probably y'all seen, they're completed, but Kiko, that's one thing that's not completed, where people have to sign up for a Kiko to get in and out of, it's like our racquetball courts. I'll take blame on that one. There was some issues on that one, but we're fixing to get that going. And, but the tennis courts, I mean, they are used all day, all throughout the night. I go by there when I come to dinner, a lot of times in town, and there are people playing at night. So, and during the day, I'm out there, you know, working in the park or wherever, and you see people out there playing throughout the day. I mean, it's amazing how much people really enjoying it. And we get constant compliments about, you know, how they look and some of the nicest courts in Columbia County. So it's pretty good. I think we'll get good money out of it.
Y'all did a great job.
How are they accessing the tennis court?
Right now, it's just open to the public until I can get that Kiko. I got most of the stuff running. I just got to run one more piece of conduit. And then IT will be getting with the company that we have, and they'll be running the cords over to the electricity. So we're going to be waiting on them more than we're waiting on us. It won't take us long.
So that's pretty much the final thing that's going to complete that is the keyboarding.
The Kiko is the final thing that we've all had planned. Okay, basketball
courts, you know, speak to that.
Basketball courts have been by, they've already been paved, and fence has been installed, and the goalpost has been installed. I haven't put the backboards or goals up, so I don't want nobody on them right now. We laid sod Friday, and our basketball courts at the park has only been 1.5 courts, and they're in bad shape. And that's one of the reasons we reached out to really get into it. We did tennis courts, we need to do basketball courts. That's me personally. I don't play tennis, but I did play basketball. So the courts are really looking good. We're fixing, our courts never had lighting, our basketball courts. So if they're gonna play tennis at night till 10 o'clock, we're gonna do that for basketball. So we're gonna have lighting. Luckily, we got a $10,000 grant. I worked with a gentleman out there at Target, and they gave us $10,000. So that's helped paying for the lights. It's gonna be the same LED lights that the tennis court has, exactly. And they'll be on timer system, 10 o'clock they go off.
You said you applied for a grant for that?
Yes, I did, and I'll respect that. Yeah, that's what it helped out the lighting system. And starting next Monday, you go by there, you'll start seeing a court surface company there, and they're gonna look just like the tennis courts. They're gonna have, you know, paint down there on the surface. They're gonna be the gray and blue. I think they're gonna be the nicest looking courts throughout Columbia County also, an outdoor court.
Will it be a full basketball court?
There are 2 full NCAA basketball courts.
Great.
And also, and I've already been contacted by a couple groups around here that's wanting to use the courts for like tournaments and all that. And once they get completed, I'm hoping it's going to be done by the end of this month. Everything will be completed. I'm giving you a little bit of free time. Terry Phillips and I are going to work on trying to set up a grand opening. And the Target people want to come out And one of the reasons helped us get the grant through Target, one of their employees used to play basketball out there all the time, him and a couple other employees. Something happened, I don't know if he got a car wreck or whatnot, so they are the ones who helped push that $50,000 for us to get it in honor of him. So we're gonna have a little sign up there, thanking Target for the grant, with his name on it. So.
Well, with the volume of traffic, have we had any additional parking spaces in that area?
No, sir, not yet, but there's plans on the south side of the park where all the grass is, where people already pull up. We are looking at removing the curb and a main curb and some more additional parking on the south side where there's none, besides that potential.
On the south side of the
basketball courts and all that, yeah, so just tied into the fence courts and everything. You should have a picture of it, the basketball courts.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, but that picture is not really good color. Kind of looking like a little bit better.
They'll be fenced individually.
No, ma'am, they're only half feet. But people still go in there. And where the balls don't go out and bounce into the roads or whatnot. So that's what, that's how we are.
Yeah, they always look better than Ridges.
Going to.
The coloring on both are going to match.
They're going to match, that's going to be uniform.
How far away from completion of the basketball court?
Well, the Monday, like I said, Monday, they're going to, the court surface is coming in to do their work and to put the surface coating in. Then next week, I'm gonna have my concrete crew over there laying out the concrete pads for the new bleachers that goes there also. And then once that's done, we're ready to bring it open. And that's why I'm trying to give myself roughly the end of this month to be having bring open. Just in case of weather and everything else.
Question, Thomas, the fencing around the two, are there going to be a separation between the basketball court and the tennis court, or it's going to be one fence around both?
Well, there's a fence that goes around both, and it goes up 20 foot on both ends and 20 foot in the middle, where if there's a game going on here, usually that's where they, shoot the ball, hit back, where it bounces off. That's where most courts stop at, where people, pedestrians and all still walk through them. But that's why we did it that way. That's what other courts throughout other communities did, the 20 foot.
Okay, any further questions? Item 5 and 6. Thank you, Thomas. Okay, we'll move on to item 7, discussion items on the Christmas decoration.
Thomas has also been working on that one. And he's got several quotes on item 7 in the packet. The low quote was Mosca Design, 46,670. And we want to kind of go into it's Christmas decorations and banners all together.
Well, what page is in there with the Christmas wreaths.
That's about that way.
14,
It's 15.
There's no 15
for the pictures.
trying to change mine again. But the wreaths that we're looking at, the bigger wreaths will be going on the taller concrete poles that's like on the south part of 90 going to Bayes, then the north part of Railroad Street going to Basket North. I still call it 100, because the poles are so big, so we're going with a bigger wreath on them two areas where our little antique one downtown, we're going with a smaller wreath, but they're all going, be uniform, but this size difference. Because we can't put a real big one on, these little poles. And they're going attached to it. Now, the ones downtown here will have power because we have power here, so they will be lit up with lights. The ones on the concrete poles, we don't have power, we can't get power because I had to get a permit just to use the poles for 3/4 power and light. Put up real regular banners or anything, so they said they will not supply power to the concrete poles.
So during the holidays, it will be just the wreaths on the poles.
Yes, wreaths on the poles and, everything else in the parks and everything else like we normally do. Flip over, you can see the banners that was selected. We had a small committee get together and we pick out some upstate banners. A lot of these old banners that CRA was bought years and years ago. They're crumbling up, falling apart. They just outlast themselves. And you kind of see what was selected from the committee of 5 people. Faye Bowen, Tina Roberts, myself. 2 more, I can't remember.
Thomas sits on page 27.
Yes, 27. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I said. I'm moving around a little bit. I know Terry's going to do a presentation here on some banners too. But that's what we had for banners in the Christmas decoration.
So the price is for it down here from the 3 vendors.
From the 3 vendors was 46,670. Yeah. That's doing every pole that we own.
And the city is responsible for doing the maintenance and.
Yes, we're the ones that install them, take them down, everything, store them, and everything. Yes.
We'd like to get approval on this one because it was a long lead time the order to the time they show up.
Yes, a very long time right now.
So we need to decide now, make a decision on it.
It would help.
Yeah.
We're starting to placing orders where there's a lot of, still even with COVID stuff, there's still a lot of companies that's slow. I meant to tell you too, also on Sally Mae Park, I ordered the privacy fence that's going along and along the backside of the properties. And they're talking about 60 to 70 days out. And they're talking about their companies are short staffed. That's why I'm really brought this up too. It's just trying to get stuff rolling.
The motion would be for the 46,670.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Jefferson, can I ask a couple questions?
Well, we have a motion now, but
What's the second?
Pardon?
What's the second?
Okay.
okay. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Thomas, the ones that we picked that are up now, well, once we got them up, we realized that they were too small. They weren't big, we were pleased with the banner itself, but we felt like it should have been a little bigger on the post than what it is. So what will be the dimensions of these and who will pick the banner? The final banner?
Well, the banners, that's what I said, we have a committee that picked these banners.
It'll be seasonal. You get all 4 plus Christmas.
Look at page 27.
But on page 14, it has to.
Okay, can you tell me the dimensions?
Now, the banners that's going to go through the antique poles downtown, they're 18 by 36.
And where are the
They're
ones
pretty
now?
split. They're about the same. If we go too much farther down, people's going to hit them on their heads because they're low. I could hit already. And then people, kids, they're going to run up, jump, and touch it, so they can get destroyed. The ones on concrete poles are 30 inches wide by 65 feet, up and down.
What do you think the life expectancy of the wreaths and banners?
honestly, I mean, we've had these banners, and hopefully, Reese, I can give you an idea on that. But these banners here, I know we've had them. Man, it's not- we ordered them,
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
yeah, at least 10 years, yeah. More in there.
We're tired of.
Yeah, they're just crumbling.
Yeah,
up the
yeah,
side,
it probably,
And so different.
the weather.
So there's no way to move them up, to use a bigger, to get a bit,
We-
because that's the comment I heard the most was, you're so small.
Well, they are small. We can move them up a little bit. I'm trying to look at that light right behind here. We can move them up about a foot higher, so that'll give what, 48 inches. And keep the bottom where it's at, so probably go 48, but I'll give you 2 foot. Which that's not a problem. Don't go.
That's the comment I heard after we put them up, that they were
I'm
nice.
curious to
and
actually
small.
measure those, 'cause I don't think they're 18 by 34. I think they're smaller. You did measure them?
That's why I was trying to stay with them. I went over and take measures.
Right.
Trying to see what it'll look like. That's why I thought that's the reason why the originally went there, is because of the size. So you want me to try to look at it 18 by 48?
I think so.
What's that 30 by 60 banner? That,
The 30 by 60 is the tall concrete poles. So we have a lot of labor in there. And we've already established some of these banners that we already have. We can kind of scatter them out. Kind of get the whole area from 100 all the way to Vega already. So we've had to scatter them out a little bit, but those poles are a lot bigger. And that's what we used to have around Lake Soda, but they appear to. And a couple of semis taking them out. Big trucks.
we did business with other of these vendors that sent the quote in, the banners, and we did business with other vendors.
I've never done business with them. I think this was, well, we had a local guy draw them up. And then we just contracted out and all, that was before I had started.
Yeah, Justin Simmons did the design. It's just like-
We don't have any idea of the type material that will be used either way.
You know, it's like, I mean, we should do, I mean, this is vinyl. This is gonna be vinyl instead of cloth.
Okay.
Cloth, we had cloth years before that. And the cloth just did not stay. And all the mildew and everything else, we could clean. We tried to do too, before we did these. Vinyl.
Any other?
I do have one more question. I realize these designs are probably stock designs. Do we look at doing something specific to Lake City or like we did when we did the original banner?
Well, the ones that were picked out by the committee was trying to get like the downtown look.
Right.
And we can put other stuff in there, other writings in there also. But these were some stock and some was kind of drawn out a little bit. We asked them to kind of shoot. You know, the presentation Terry has, there's some.
Okay.
That's a whole different.
So do we need to hold up on the vote then if we're going to get that?
Well, these are two different kinds of banners and recently more like commercial advertising. Things. Advertising.
They are advertisement, but they still have they can have our artwork or anything on there. But they are the ones that go on the same poles as what you're talking about.
Mr. Jefferson said we vote if we've asked him to look at getting a different dimension sign.
That's what I was wondering about.
Because price probably is gonna change since the size of we might get. So
Would you get back to all three of them? or-
I'll call all three of them, just ask them to.
Yeah.
It should take them long to figure that out.
So we just table it to next week?
Sure. You're trying to have that information for about it.
Oh, I'll have it.
Okay.
Let's see that. Been down into Mary's Florida. Can give us a better quote as well. I like to see if we get it in state. More like losing this at home rather than out of state. Sure. Hopefully more than that.
Okay, thanks, Tom. We're gonna move on to item A, discussion on the city cleanup, June 5th. We're gonna speak to that.
I can start, sure. So on the first Saturday in June, June 5th, from 8 to noon, we would have the volunteer community cleanup event. We'd have it set up in one location because we found out last year that one location works best. So we picked the north side of Memorial Stadium for that location. We would have, as part of our contract, we would have 2 roll-off containers, one for non-food items like old furniture and the other for tires. So that would be a drop-off site that people could bring things to. Then we'd also have, at the same time, volunteers taking up litter on ditches and streets. And the public works staff would go out and canvass the streets ahead of time to see which ones are most in need of attention. The other thing is the public works, Thomas is looking to have some of his crew remove some of the debris on some of the properties that seem to be there, like piled at the end of a property. Let's say if it's, for example, a railroad crossing where there isn't an identified property owner, you just get that all cleaned up real nice. There's a fourth thing too, that possible volunteers might be helping some needy people with home repairs that may or may not have in them, but we'd like to get that off the ground with the volunteer effort also. So there will be food, we'll have food there for everybody. And plenty of water, and we'll supply gloves, and we'll have maps of the various areas, and people can pick a route and participate. It was a very big success last year. It was actually 2 years ago because of COVID.
About home repair.
Yeah, there had been, and this will be later on in the agenda. There's a church that has volunteered to help with the cleanup effort as well as possibly some home repairs. We've done this successfully elsewhere where you've had, like, say, among the volunteers, you'd have a contractor that could supervise people that would be able to help, and obviously we'd have to go through the building inspector and do it all correctly, but it all has to be lined up ahead of time. But let's say somebody has a hole in the roof and they just don't have the wherewithal to fix it. That'd be the kind of project where somebody needs a handicap ramp to get into a house. And let's say they're elderly and they don't have any resources to do it. So this is the kind of thing that we're looking to try to help with.
How would you qualify? Who would be qualified to make application for repairs?
Well, I think you'd have to have the supervised person would probably have to be a licensed contractor.
Or have to get them say, you want to get the work done?
Yeah, the applicant would have to be probably pre-qualified to do this. So, this may take a little while to set up. Sometimes you could qualify them through, maybe a bank or somebody. So we don't have to know the information.
So you don't have to go senior citizen, anybody, any citizen.
That's a need, needy and that doesn't have the resources to do it.
Very good.
So we're working on that. It may take a little more time than this, but I think it's a good program.
So.
Mr. Helfenberger.
Sure.
With the cleanup, remember that we also, that nonprofit company called me and they were wanting to add the toxic and hazardous waste as well. And they're going to provide us the gloves, the grabbers, the bags, and the toxic waste pickup and the tire pickup. So that was
Free of charge.
free of charge.
So that's another big benefit. Usually it's once or twice a year with the county, but they've been in touch with us and we got that also planned free of charge.
Mr. Heffenberger, for clarification, you did say that they will be accepting car tires.
Yes, the tires like we did last time. There'll be one roll off for the tires and one for the non-food items like the old furniture.
Yeah.
And I've also contacted the county, see if they want to get in on this program and possibly reduce or waive the tipping fees for this, for both municipalities if they would be involved.
Yeah, I just have one quick question. Do we know for community purpose, how many containers are gonna be on site, or is it gonna be one container once it's filled, that's the end of the story, or will there be a haul off of the containers and another will come back? But this program, I think, is from 8 to 12 or 9 to 12. What happens if it gets filled in 1 hour?
We get 2 containers free, I believe 2 tires and 2, it's 4 containers total. And then if there's more, we'll just have to pay for it, but we don't want to stop. If we get them full, that's terrific. Then we want to keep doing it.
The reason I asked that, me and Noah Walker did it, year before last, we ran out. There was no more space, and I had to use one of my construction containers at the job site, and then people go dump, but I just didn't want nobody not to dump.
Right. Yeah, we'll just have to pay for it is all. But I think, this is going to help greatly. It'll cut down on probably the staff time going out and picking up in ditches too, so you're going to save that way. But it's going to make the community look really nice.
And the flyers and the application that you fill out for the group is on our city website, and it could be turned into me. That way we'll have a head count of who all's going to help. So if you know of anybody who's wanting to help, just have them go to the city website.
Very good.
If I wanted to give this idea to First Federal to get volunteers, do we need to contact you?
Contact me and I can email you the application, and yes.
Do we do one for each individual person?
No.
Or do we do one
For your group.
The group?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it, Mr. Heffenberger?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item 9, the downtown City of Lake City North welcome sign.
Okay, well, Thomas is taking the brunt of this, but we have kind of made contact only through email with the managers with Dollar General. And their latest proposal was they want $1,200 a year with a 3% increase each additional year. And they also were asking for advertising at the bottom of the sign. So we thought that was unacceptable because that would set a precedent. You have to do that everywhere. And without, I've never heard of that kind of charge before. And so we're going to see if we can get either a regular phone conversation with them, maybe a video or face-to-face, and see if we can negotiate an acceptable deal. That's not an acceptable deal.
Mr. Jefferson.
Yes, Ms. Moses.
I'll take this just a second. In looking at this, I personally would like to see us keep the signs that we have that say historic downtown, because that's the concentrated retail. And then put a welcome to Lake City at Baya and at 100. The downtown is the concentrated retail. From Mr. Washington, I assume Mr. Washington still has the furniture store, from there to the law office on 90. That's the concentrated downtown retail. I'd like to see those signs stay there. I mean, that's my personal opinion. And then put a welcome sign at Baya as you come in, and then at 100 Vasco Norris.
In other words, a welcome to Lake City sign and then a welcome to downtown Lake City sign.
To historic district. Downtown.
There's nothing historic about 100 in there.
I meant not, I didn't mean to use historic, downtown. I just think that's our downtown section. It's concentrated retail. And that's just my opinion. That's where our downtown district is.
So where are we now with that? We're seeking permission to place it there?
Right, if we put it by Dollar General, it'd be probably a good location because of the intersection on that side of the street. But if he's not gonna be reasonable, we're gonna have to find something else that works well, or, you know, try to figure a way to negotiate with him. You know, I don't even know if it would be legal to put advertising underneath the sign, but maybe, you know, it just takes away from everything, and we've never had to do it anywhere else, so I wouldn't want to start that.
Do we know if Dollar General is the owner of the property, or are they leasing that property?
They lease the property, and
So
the
they're not
people
there.
that we're dealing with is the landowners. And it's a group that has it, and that's who we've been discussing with.
With the landowner?
With the landowners, yes, not Dollar General, because they don't own it, they just lease it.
Well, it looked like we had a standstill with that until we get, you know, some confirmation from the owner to say what we can do, you know, on the property. We need to get some feedback from them.
Yes, sir, that's what Mr. Heffenberger and I have been working on, trying to get them on Zoom or just talk face-to-face to emails.
Is that the only location that's available for that sign?
Well, no, but it's a much preferred location over other locations because it's easy to see from a distance, and it's, as you're coming into towards the downtown, you know, it just you know, is the best visibility.
For the intersection.
So, I mean, I've only been on this a short while, but we're gonna see if we can meet with the landowners and come up with something acceptable.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm curious as to why we're doing this, because it feels like to me, we're already identified the historic downtown area. But Lake City's much bigger than just this street right here. So I mean, we've already identified this street as historic downtown, but Lake City goes out towards the interstate, out further. It just, I guess I'm just curious why we're saying welcome to Lake City when Lake City's so much bigger than just this little strip that we're identifying. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
If you remember that the city, Lake City, you're talking about the boundary line, we used to have welcome to Lake City sign. There's still only one up, and that's over in front of Casey's Produce. That's the only one still established. We had talked about this years back to put one out there in front of the high school in the median, and we had permission from FDOT to do that one. It got cut. And then we talked about putting one on the west side of town, and then we talked about when the expansion of the city keeps on moving out, is moving them out. So there, of course, one will have to go to 100, because across 100 is county. So, but we did talk about doing that a while back. And that, we used to have them years back, because they had a little round Rotary Club and all the other stuff. An old chain link vacuum. So, but that has been discussed. And the only sign, like I said, is still from Casey's Produce off of Fayette. The original one.
Yeah.
And we're looking at expanding the downtown and, you know, like with the decorations and everything else going out broader, broader, and that would probably be the start of it, is whether you have banners or Christmas trees or whatever, to have a uniform look throughout the community.
Just curious, because it just feels like it's bigger than what we're identifying.
I think what we talked about earlier, years ago, is when because they put those downtown signs before I came on, but that it was the downtown retail commercial area.
Right.
And then we said, we want welcome to Lake City at the 4 places where people come in.
Right.
Off the interstate. I mean, that's what I'd like to see done.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So you would like to see it at those 4 places,
Coming into
welcome
Lake City.
to Lake City.
Mhm.
So by that, Ms. Moses, you mean north, south, east, west?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think it was very expensive to do that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm confused. So you're saying in conjunction with the sign that identified that 100 and Marion is a part of downtown, you're saying do those other 4 signs in conjunction to the sign in front of the dollar store?
I'm saying keep well, that would be one of them coming in. That would be the north one. And the downtown signs would stay there where they are. And then we'd have one coming in, from the north. And it would be, I would assume it would be at the 100 in Bascom Norris.
Yeah, I mean, that's
intersection.
yeah,
And
that's
that
what
makes
I'm hoping.
sense.
That would only make sense to put them together, but that identifies them at the beginning of downtown.
Right, well, the beginning of Lake City.
Right.
Lake City.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the downtown area to me is the commercial area.
No.
To me.
Yeah,
That's.
we disagree that downtown, we can't take Main Street, but then, we go back and forth on that.
Right. So, do we need should I make a motion to that, Mr. Jefferson?
We would need one, I think. Yeah.
That we look at placing signs at the 4 north, south, east, and west coming into Lake City, a welcoming sign.
So you're talking about the city limit, actually, the one where the sign out, they have a city limit.
The welcome sign.
Welcome to Lake City.
And one, definitely one, north, south, east, west, because the west, we want to, advertise that that's not Lake City necessarily, way out west with McDonald, everything, that there is another Lake City.
City limits.
Yeah.
You offer that as a motion?
I make that motion that we do.
I'll
Is there a second? Okay.
One question. Do you want to say, look just like the one we have on the east side? And the reason why I'm asking, I started working on getting a pricing and all, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it looks like, really. I don't remember what that sign looks like.
I don't have it.
We want something more modern.
Yeah, if it looks like the rotary signs, no.
No, it's not like that. It's like the tag that the city had a long time ago, we're able to put on our front of our trucks. It has the moon, and it had, I can't remember what kind of bird it was.
I think we want something more modern than that.
Hey, I need guidance where I need to get prices.
I know.
So we
Well,
would,
if that's the case, then we want to change that one too.
if we do,
All of them
have a
be
uniform.
uniform.
Mhm.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, receive it by saying aye. And opposes, like sign. If the ayes have it. Okay. Moving on to item 10, Marion Street banners. Mr. Nikki Carroll.
Yes, I've been speaking with Nikki Carroll. She's going to do her presentation via Zoom.
Okay.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
You can? Okay, great. I was having a little bit of a hard time hearing some of you earlier, so So I know that some people were talking about banners. I apologize if any of this information might be repetitive or if some of this was talked about. And I'm happy to take any questions that you might have after I review all the information for you. So I'm going to share my screen and just talk to you a little bit about CGI and our banner program. Can everybody see this okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So just a little bit about CGI Communications. We've been dedicated to working with communities and helping them with their marketing initiatives for over 30 years now. We've actually worked with over 6,000 communities since we've got our start as a company. We're currently working with over 3,000. That's led to relationships with hundreds of thousands of businesses, currently over 50,000 businesses as we speak. It also has led to the endorsement of the National League of Cities, the United States Conference of Mayors, the National Association of Counties. We're members of the Florida Association of Chamber Professionals, and an assortment of other relationships nationwide and statewide. You might be familiar with CGI because we actually already work with Lake City. We produce the video tour that's on the homepage of your city website. That's our flagship program, actually. It's our cost-free video program. A little bit about that in case you're unfamiliar. We produce a series of videos for communities we partner with, and we provide them to the community we work with for free. And we offer the opportunity for local businesses to get involved by sponsoring the program. Oh, can everybody hear? Was somebody saying something? I apologize. Might have been just a little bit of feedback. Sorry about that. So we produced a series of videos. Your local businesses had the opportunity to sponsor those videos on your website. We had a tremendous response from your local business community. They were all really excited about it. It was one of our best programs, actually. And in fact, one of the best parts about our programs, though, is that none of our programs are contingent upon sponsorship participation. So that's one thing I want to be sure to mention for you. You would have received those videos we produced for you, regardless of if 100 businesses decided to participate and regardless of if 0 businesses decided to participate. So we guarantee our programs will always be cost-free. This program in particular is something that we've been doing for quite a while, but it's been a much more exclusive initiative. We work with the National Civic League, and it was exclusively a program we did in partnership with them. But we're going to be launching this program nationally soon. And before we do that, we always like to be sure our existing partners have a first opportunity to learn about the project and get a first chance to take advantage of it. So that's why I'm here today. We want to be sure that you have a first chance to participate if it's something that you think would benefit you. So we have banners that can accommodate any pool size. They're beautiful, durable, high quality, double-sided vinyl banners. We have an amazing in-house graphic arts department that can assist you with your design and concept when it comes to your banners. So whether you would want to do a patriotic or a historical or a city logo theme, we would work with you on whatever you would prefer. There are also lots of ways to keep this local. We have a lot of communities that will utilize students and do local high school art contests. Temple Terrace, Florida is one of our community partners participating in this program. They had an in-house graphic artist do the design work for them just to keep it local. We also work with a lot of communities that'll utilize like a public arts commission. So there's lots of flexibility in terms of design where you can keep it local. We can utilize any branding materials you have, and you always have the fallback of our professional graphic arts services at the end of the day so we can make any vision you have come to life. As I mentioned earlier, there is a sponsorship element to this program. We allow your businesses to get involved and create public-private partnerships. This opportunity is, of course, really great for small businesses in particular. This is our most popular program for small to medium-sized businesses. It removes the barrier of entry in terms of any sort of participation for smaller businesses to participate. And it really benefits them by allowing them to take advantage of things like foot traffic, holiday shopping, local festivals and events, daily commuters going to and from their jobs. And as you can see here, your local businesses can sponsor the banner with their name and their logo. Some communities will prefer the simplicity of just a business name. That's totally up to you. That works a lot like an Adopt a Highway or an Adopt a Brick program, but you get full aesthetic control of both the top and the bottom. So it's up to you what they look like at the end of the day. As I mentioned earlier, one of the main perks of our programs is that they're 100% cost-free for the community no matter what. So few things I want to mention about that. We'll take care of the sponsorship acquisition. We would reach out to your businesses. In fact, as I already mentioned, we have a really great relationship with your local businesses already. We anticipate an equally enthusiastic response if you were to participate in this program. But furthermore, as I mentioned with the other program, we always guarantee that our programs will not be contingent upon sponsorship participation. So with this program, what would happen is if we came to Lake City and say we asked every single business within your community if they'd like to sponsor a banner, and maybe every single business in your community tells us no. If that happens, then my company, CGI, would pay for you to have 25 free banners. We would put on them whatever artwork you decided on, and we would give them to you free of charge. So you don't have to stress about us getting any sort of numbers or me ever coming back and telling you that the program offerings have changed. If we don't get enough sponsors, we'll pay to make sure you get at least 25. A few additional perks. We'll also handle all of the installation and the maintenance for you, so you don't have to worry about dedicating any staff time to launch the final product once they're finished. We'll provide you with brand new brackets and hardware if necessary, so that way you'll have everything you need on hand for a seamless and timely installation. And we'll also insure every single banner. So if you get a crazy windstorm that comes through, or maybe some of them get damaged somehow, we'll replace them within a timely manner so that you don't have to worry about it, and neither will your business sponsors. If you are familiar with EGI's video program, you might remember that one of the essential parts of that program is that we allow community organizations to participate for free. That's a really important part of all of our programs, and that theme is continued in this program. We allow local fire station and police stations to sponsor a banner for free. Of course, a free banner for City Hall. If you have a local chamber or a Main Street program that you'd like to incorporate into this, we would allow them to participate for free. And then depending on the number of polls you can allocate to the program, we always hand out a few additional free banners to things like Red Cross, Kiwanis, Boys and Girls Club. And then I'm sure you're also curious about how long this program goes on for. All of our programs are typically set up as 3-year programs, and the same is true of this one. So every single year of the program that you would work with us, you would get free banners every single year, and you would get brand new banners every single year. So say, for example, this year you decided you wanted to do a city logo theme, but maybe next year you have some sort of centennial or celebration. We can make special centennial banners for you for next year. So every single year you get to redesign your banners and reutilize them in whatever way makes sense to your community each and every year. And the good news about that, especially for your businesses, is that with each new banner design, we'll give any of your participating businesses their banner that they sponsored. So this is Manchester Safe and Lock from Manchester, Connecticut, and they've kept their banner every single year. It's become a really cool visual time capsule, so another major benefit for your businesses. And I know we've gone over a lot pretty quickly. I'm from New York. I hope I wasn't talking too fast for you. But the last things I want to touch on is basically what we would ask from you in exchange for all of this. So it's just a few things. First, we would ask that you identify and give us access to 25 polls for the program. That's our only qualifying requirement, is that you have to have at least 25 polls you could dedicate to the initiative. The more the merrier, of course, but the minimum qualification is 25. Additionally, we ask that you provide us direction in terms of artwork and design. So that means let us know if you want to keep it local, let us know if you have branding guidelines you want followed, and then of course we'll send you drafts of banner examples based on what you've told us, and then just communicate with us about what you like and what you don't like. So that's job number 2. The third thing we would ask is that you sign a letter of introduction to be put on your official letterhead. This is something we asked from you of the video program as well. As a reminder, this is just a validating letter. It explains the initiative a little further. We take a green approach and we don't mass mail this out in any way. We just hold it in hand when we do the business outreach to verify that we are in fact working with your community on a program. And I've sent that over to Terry as well as Joe in an editable format. It's in a Word document. So you should feel free to reword that letter as much or as little as you like. The template is just a guide. And we're fine with it saying whatever you're comfortable saying. And then the last thing that we would ask from you is that you sign off on our one-page agreement, which is right here, which is very similar to the one-page agreement that we provided you for the video program, except for this one's much shorter. There are fewer bullets, but it says basically 2 things. 1, we'll do everything I just said, everything that I promised. And 2, you will never incur a cost at any point along the way. So that's basically the summary of the program and how to get involved. And I'm happy to address any questions anybody might have about the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Anyone have any questions for Carol? Would you leave?
They do Christmas week.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there no questions? Because I can allow you to discuss in private if that's preferred.
Yes.
What do you think? Christmas.
You want us to have her drop off?
Are we done?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
Do you want us to have her drop off the meeting so that you can discuss in private?
No, Mr. Chair, we don't. Oh, we do not, if she wants to leave, yeah, we don't want her to drop off.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm mistaken.
I didn't quite hear that. I apologize.
Please stay on it if you want to.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Thank you.
Okay, comments from the committee?
Be another way to augment the banner program and make mix with the other ones. You wouldn't have all advertising, but if you could expand the banner look, maybe you have them every other one, you know, you have.
How many do we have?
Well,
How many on per poll?
Now, how many polls do we have available?
Oh,
The original order.
360.
Wow.
we got 25 for her.
but she needs a minimum of 25.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they can do however many we would like for them to do.
Is this
That's
different
correct. Yep.
what we talked about earlier? Is this a different polls than what we talked about?
No,
yeah,
It's the same thing.
it's same polls, but different, different banners, you know.
You put two more. How are you foreseeing to use them in downtown with the banners that we are going to put up now, or in another area of the city, or what are you looking at?
Well, that's gonna be however y'all wanna do it. We can scatter them out with the banners that we talked about, the CRA purchasing and the banners that she's asking for the companies or whatever event. We kind of, misplace them here and there throughout. I mean, that's gonna be your call, not mine.
It seems like it'd be kind of odd to have these mixed in with what would be other ones. The look would be so completely different that it would be like, I don't know, mismatched clothes. I mean, it's the only way I know to describe it. If we identified like out 90 in the city areas to do them outside of this main corridor where it couldn't be other banners, I could see that.
Well, we can ask, let's try to get a permit through DOT for that. Where you can place those banners, and keep our regular downtown banners for, throughout this whole area. From 90 to, from Baya to 100. But if you want to look at going like up and down Baya or 90, we can get permission, permits from DOT.
Since we get an opportunity to design whatever banner we want, I think it'd be a great opportunity to take advantage of this company to provide those banners free of cost and free of maintenance. I don't see any downside to this offer at all. That would be my motion.
And we only have to commit to 1 year. I mean, it's
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
We put new ones up, no additional charge every year though.
Right.
It says 1 year.
So do we get to determine what type banner goes on there?
Design.
The design,
yes, there's some in here that they're already pre-made or whatever, but you can also have someone draw something up and they can do that as well.
Are there any communities within this area that are doing this that we might could see?
She, okay.
Hi, I'm still here. We work with, right now, we're only offering this program because it's previously something we only did with the National Civic League for All America City award winners. We're currently only offering it right now to existing partners. So it's a very limited basis right now. But Temple Terrace, Florida is one of the communities off the top of my head that just signed on recently. I don't know if they're necessarily near you, but they're one of the only Florida communities I can remember right now. But right now, this is just an exclusive opportunity for our existing partners, which you are. Hopefully, once we do this official launch soon, we'll have a huge influx of all communities of all sizes from all over the country. But as of right now, it's very exclusive.
I think we need to get somebody like, I know Thomas has got plenty to do and Elfenberger, but we need somebody to kind of figure out how many places there are and where we would want to put them and how many, and then get back with us. We got potentially 300. I don't know if we want to do that, man. Or like you said, now 90 or something like that.
If you want to, Terry and I can go work together on that.
We kind of get an idea of where they might, help or conflict with what we're doing or whatever.
We'll work on that together.
Okay.
Okay, and hopefully you will have something for us at our next meeting then.
We'll try.
We'll go from there. Okay. Okay, Ms. Carroll, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to meet you all virtually. And thank you so much for being a partner of ours and participating in our video program. We appreciate you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 11, outreach program. Mr. Heffenberg.
Sure. Terry and I have been approached by Christ Central Ministries. They're looking at sponsoring community outreach for city residents who are in need of various things like cleanup, mowing, other miscellaneous projects. Mr. Lee Faulkner is the contact person for this, and I think that could be a huge help to our community, especially there's situations, and I'm thinking in particular like when you have aftermath of hurricane debris and you have a big tree down in somebody's yard and they just don't have the resources to remove it. Let's say they might be retired, they might have, be very poor or whatever. This type of service would be invaluable to help, and they could also help people with code violations that are, struggling to be able to comply with them. So I think it could be a huge asset to the community.
And Mr. Lee Faulkner is the contact person?
Yes.
For that?
Are they wanting help identifying potential homes that are already in need of this, or?
Right, we'd have to set up you have to work with them on some criteria, that would make sense, you want to offer it to those people that are in need, and not necessarily if they have all the wherewithal, they do it easily. We're trying to target the people that are most in need, and how you go about doing that. We can report back to you and try to come up with some suggested guidelines that you might want to look at.
Would they decide who's needy, or would we decide who's needy?
Well, if you go by income, I've usually used a bank to do that, so their information would stay private. But sometimes they'll volunteer to do that. But somebody other than the government would look at their information, because when it comes to us, it's public. It's public record.
Christ Central would do that, I guess.
Possibly, we could. I believe Mr. Faulkner is the business manager there. I was looking to meet with them over the next week and see about what, kind of flesh out the details on a program like this. But we wanted to bring it to your attention because we want to know if there's interest in moving forward with this. We want to work on stuff you want us to work on. You know, it just seems like this could go hand in hand with some of the code enforcement, especially.
I do too.
I think it's a great idea.
So I'll go ahead and meet with them and we can report back.
Well, one question come to mind too that we definitely need to get clarified. Take for example, if someone needed a handicap ramp, they're expecting the homeowner to provide the material, or that's part of the program. The program will provide all the equipment needed to do that project. And that would be, I think, is a.
Right, see, these details gotta be worked out, and so I would like to meet with them, see what their resources are, what they're willing to do, and then come back to the committee.
Okay, I think that would be good. We can come back to us with some additional information, and we'd be better prepared to move forward and make a decision on it. Okay. Moving on to item 10, item 12. Program grant funds for the renovation of the historic district. Who wants to speak to that?
Okay, there was a request to fund a business or in the historic district, and it could be businesses or residences, but in the historic district, there are requirements that exceed the requirements of normal of everywhere else in the city, that they have to do things to fit in a historical context. And a lot of times those requirements are more costly than in any other area of the city, because if you don't do that, then you don't have a historical district. So what we're looking at is, if you think this is a valuable program, we could, or something to pursue, we could do some research and figure out where has this been done successfully, and what, offer some suggested guidelines on it, and come back with some kind of a suggested program that you could then kind of deliberate over and see if you think that makes sense, or if you want to modify it, but we're just asking, is there interest to go ahead so we could do some research, get something back to you. What it would do is help people encourage restoration in the historic district, which is, they may have to put on materials that may be way more costly than your average materials just to keep the historic requirements met.
Grant money would provide for those costs, even for residents.
Right, so that, they could continue to maintain the historical perspective in that district.
So does it have to be in a historic downtown? Could it be any place?
Well, it would be in the historic district that's designated for Lake City.
And there are houses designated as historical on a registry. This might not be designated or located in the downtown vicinity.
Right.
Yeah, so those would apply as well.
We could do that. We could,
historical.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ms. Moses.
Could we do something similar to, I think our facade grant was very successful. And I personally felt like it really helped the people that needed the help. If we ran it sort of like that, but made it, instead of a facade grant, made it, a grant for historic buildings and put a cap on it. I think the facade grant was was it 5,000 max, or
No,
did we have a cap on
And we
they had
did.
to pay a certain percentage of it.
Matching
it?
grant.
They had to match
Match up to
everything.
10,000.
I can't remember, was it 75, 25?
10, I think is what it
Yeah.
was.
Yes.
So we could, I'd be real interested in doing something like that, but if we had the funds that we could pull from.
Are we talking about the funds coming from the CRA funds?
No.
Well, I was thinking what you could do is, if we got a program that made sense, you could designate a certain amount of funding for it for a pilot, and then, you evaluate it either when it gets low or annually, and if it's working well, then you continue to support it.
I think we should at least try it, because we do want to keep the historic area looking appropriate and meeting those requirements, and that is more expensive to do it, to meet those, so I think it'd be definitely worth a try.
Okay, then if with that, our staff will do some research and bring back something. We'll take a look at some of the communities that have had this successfully and.
Yeah.
Get grants.
I think, well, at one point, we need to look at if possible, grants.
Right.
Grant funding.
Okay.
Any other concerns on item 12?
As far as the historical district in the residential area, how do you find out the information, the boundaries, where that's located, the downtown area, or how do I get that?
Sure. Terry's got a copy of it. She might even have one on her. But it's some of that is some of it's inside the CRA area.
Look at the map, it's the blue area. If you look at the map that's in your packet.
It's on the website, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if nothing else on that, we're moving on into item 13. Portable restroom trailers. Thomas, for that.
All right, I've been asked to look at portable restrooms for all these events that we hopefully will get back to. Rephrase that, and that's all of the events that's throughout the CRA district area. And you may see a pamphlet in there. And this is just a rough price right this moment. Looking for, because a lot of the events, a lot of the people when they come here, they talk about their biggest cost is porta potties and stuff like that. So and we end up losing a couple of events throughout the year due to that. And they've came to us numerous times and talked about that, and then they've been wanting the city to take on the cost of the porta potties, maybe they'll do an event here. Well, as we all know, they're expensive. That's why they're backing out. So we looked at, and I've been asked to look at some portalets trailers, and I was looking at 10 station because that should be able to do a lot because the biggest event in Clinton County is normally the Lusty Festival. So I'm trying to throw the big numbers out there. And they usually have 19 toilets, portable toilets throughout, scattered out. So right now I'm just looking at if we could at least try to purchase one and move forward, then we can use it for other events throughout the city in the CRA district. And this is a split section trailer. It's has men's and women's, and they have their separate doors, of course. And these are fully self-contained. I mean, once we hook up, fill up the tank of water, then it's got its own station, and we dump it, and all that good stuff. And like I said, the pricing, that's just something I found offline real quick. I have our procurement office, they're looking to see if there's anything like on gov deals and governmental pricing. So if it is, it should be cheap.
Any idea what it would cost to rent one of these for a weekend?
Off the top of my head, no, sir. I know the South Side Baseball Complex is renting some from White Springs, if I remember correctly. They got some down in that area, some company, and they said they're pretty expensive. I have a 2-stall. Just, for catering. And I have a personal 2-stall, and brand new, that was 23,000. I divided it brand new. I only paid 8 for it. And I just sold it for 9.
Is this what we were talking about putting down on that vacant lot that we bought off Fernando?
Yes, we're to pull up there and we can hook it up to power, water, because it's air conditioning and everything.
Okay. I just
Yes,
want,
ma'am. The one that's behind Keaton's, that little lot there.
So the site that this is utilized on, I think you said it was self-containing. It would have to be on a site where water hookup and electricity is available?
Electricity, we can put a generator on. All you run is the air conditioning and a little bit of lighting. The generator fit on there, but the water, it has a whole tank that you fill up. And then, you go from there and you watch the level throughout 2 or 3 days. And then you just keep filling it, and then we can have a septic tank company come by and clean it out. If you want to get somewhere else, where it's not set up for that.
are we looking for a motion on this?
Well, we'll do a discussion right now, and then we'll get to that.
I guess I'm lost, if you don't mind. How much is the thing?
Well, yeah, right here, like I said, I just looked online, it's 58,640. Once I get the procurement office to look, like I would buy our city trucks, most likely it's a lot cheaper.
I'm just of the opinion, I had a chance to invest in one of these companies. In my opinion, for the amount of events that we do, to cough up that type of money for restrooms, I'm of the opinion that we rent. I mean, they're a few $100, and I don't think necessarily people, I could be wrong, but if people want to do an event, I don't think they're gonna let a few $100 stop them from coming and bringing their own trailer. Most people who do events typically lease those portable bathroom trailers and bring them with them and cost it to the consumer. I just think we're gonna have a 10-stall bathroom paying $50,000, $60,000 just sitting up, and we could have used that CRA money for something more constructive, at least in my opinion. But I'm just.
Let's find out what it costs to rent them.
Yeah.
And then kind of guesstimate what it would cost a year if we rented so many times, and then kind of prices back and forth. But if you to check on a firmer price.
Yes, I'm waiting to hear back.
Yeah, so I mean, if it did get down into 30s or something like that, then it might be something that might be worth more. You know, I know up at the Swanee Park, they rent those quite a bit.
Okay, I can do both.
Yeah, and in line with that, I think we have to consider the frequency of use too, how often we're gonna use it, for what we're invested in it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right now, it may not be cost effective, we could only have that many events. Your return on investment may take a long, long time. Maybe down the road, when we do have a lot more events, and you might get, generally, I'll look for a return on investment within 5 years. And this would be way more than 5 years right now. But we'll bring the details back.
Details back.
Yeah, because I know how much exactly what the Blue Gray Army paid for theirs, throughout an event. I could bring that and compare it, try to figure out, pay off, in 5 years besides all the other events.
Right.
I don't have that cost, but I knew no Blue Grays. Got to ask for the break.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Moving on to item 14, skate park update. I think you wanted to speak to that, item 14?
Yes,
I believe.
Lace out that you.
I'll let you go first.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We brought this issue up in the city council meeting, I think last time we met, and it was 2 things on the agenda. It was this particular skate park, and it was also a track to go around Memorial Stadium. I think verbally, the council agreed on it. kicked it down to CRA for funding. We realized in that the CRA, the memorial stadium does not sit in the CRA, and then there's a FERDAP grant that we would be having, I think, Mr. Henry to apply for. And so also in that discussion, I think it was Councilman Green who wanted us to meet from the community and kind of discuss how the community would want the skate park to look and the track to look, given the fact that we're going to be the ones who would be using it. And so that way we don't get a grant and build something that won't be usable. And so these fine folks reached out to me on I put a post on social media. A lot of them responded to me, and this is the group that now is in front of us as it relates to the skate park. Mr. Thomas has been very, very instrumental and helpful in reaching out to Suwannee County, who have 2 skate parks, and getting some of their layout. And there's also folks have called me way from California who say they will come help design it for free and do a lot of work. I think his name is Chris Peterson. He's very anxious to help. And I think it's a great thing for the community. Too often we hear there's nothing to do. We've lost our girls club and boys club. I don't think that the city is going to refund it. And so they've already repurposed those buildings. And so the kids don't have anything to do. The nuclear family doesn't have anything to do as an activity. And so I think this would really begin to open up Lake City in a different light and begin to evolve and become more progressive in the things that we offer to our citizens and some of you elected officials offer to your constituents. I think it's a great cause. I'm glad to see that the council verbally agreed to it, and that hopefully that we'll get a motion to have Mr. Henry to do his job for the funding, and to hear from these fine folks as to how we want to design it. Similar to we did Sallie Mae Jerry, how when the community came, you all approved it, and we helped to design how we kind of wanted it to look and to play out. And there you go. All right.
Could I ask one quick question for Sam? Have you talked to, when I read this, when I was on TDC, and we bought the property on Lake Jeffrey, I think there was a part, because they did a big plan of all the different sports that would be there. I think a skate park was part of that. You talked to people at the county?
Yeah, so I don't live in the county, and so there's a lot of folks in the city that would love to have the skate park in that area. We've already identified a spot that's for it. I think about 20 years ago, maybe a little less, there was already a spot in the city identified for it. And one of the things that I think that myself and most people here are interested in is to take a area, which is Memorial Stadium, that is very, very underused. We spend a lot of money, we spend a lot of resources out there, and it's underutilized. And to make it look just as nice and just as usable as Southside. And so maybe we turn Memorial Stadium into a mini Southside, where we begin to have people in that area who may not have the means to travel so far out to Southside, but be able to use this particular area to exercise and to also skate and play. Remember, Ms. Mosen, you're very familiar with the north side of town, given the fact that you worked at Knee Black and you still volunteer at Knee Black, that there is a financial hurdle in that community, being able to be transported to certain locations, that they will get a great walk and benefit to exercise and to also play and benefit not only from the track and also the skate park.
Lake Jeffrey, though, I'm not talking about Southside, I'm talking about Lake Jeffrey.
Yeah, we're talking.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we're talking about right there behind the racquetball court is where we would begin the skate park and expand as much as we need to up to the retention pond and on the backside of the racquetball court.
Do you have a general idea of what the cost would be?
I think Thomas may have some cost analysis to the skate park and the track.
Yeah, what they did in Suwannee County, so we even know where we're.
Yes, sir. I contacted Sylvester, helped me get in contact with the recreation director over there at Suwannee County. Now, this is 2008. And they had a skate architect come in and draw this stuff up. and draw these two parts up. One of them was $50,000, now this is 2008. And that part was 60 feet by 76 feet. It had a few of the ramps and slide bar.
I'm
Way
sorry.
back when.
I'm sorry, it was 60 feet by what?
It was 60 feet by 76 feet. That's one of the ones that was. Okay, good. And then their other park is a little bigger. It's 97 feet by, well, they don't have the full footage on the downsize here. It's about double the size. And I want to say the paperwork I got from them, that was over 100,000 without. For that grant that Mr. Heppenberger and I are looking into is $200,000 grant. Try to pay for the skate park, if it's wishes. And
Thomas, do we have the ability to do any of this in-house?
I would say though.
So I can probably help you with that one. All of these are mostly concrete. It would take a lot of concrete to do. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Halberdy Sports Complex in Washington. They have a lot of really nice basketball courts, basketball cages, and they have a few fields. They also have a skate park and a water park there. Their skate park is a flat piece of concrete and it has movable and changeable forms that go on top of that. So they're mostly, are they mostly metal?
Yeah, the ramps are made out of like rust-proof metal, and they're bolt on, they're bolt together. So you wouldn't have to hire like a professional construction crew. You could probably just have city workers assemble them by the instructions. And all that was, the most expensive part was just the concrete. But other than that, you just add features and buy them one by one and just hold them together like a kit.
So we could start out small, search that, like the smaller, but add constantly to it.
Yeah, that would be the best way.
I know we mentioned earlier about how expensive wood is right now because it's unbelievable if you're trying to build a home. And if you, I'm sure all of you have no concrete takes wood forms to create. So I feel like that would definitely cut down a lot with less concrete and with less wood to be used.
Sylvester actually mentioned a good point when he said, once near the retention pond, we built a concrete structure on that park. Where are we on retention?
Oh, no, we're good. The retention pond that we built, because dealing with the new tennis courts and all, it's can pass, it'll do anything we want to do in that area.
Okay.
I went ahead and asked Swan River and the engineer, let's go ahead and up it, because we talked about a pickleball court one time. Lucky Richardson Gym volunteered and built their own. So this will take care of that too. We're good shape.
This one is probably very similar to what we're talking, what Halberdy Sports Complex has. But this is 2008, so many years ago, and so much has changed with skate parks since then. It's become easier to build ramps, to find products that are not going to burn children when they skate on them. Easy to maintain, easy to do, easy to function.
There's no maintenance when you build it correctly. You just sit in the Florida sun forever.
Yeah, and kids slide down them all the time.
Mayor, you asked, could we do it? I would rather contract this out. And the reason why, I don't have the big machinery to smooth them out.
Right.
And my staff and this skate park, it's gotta be smooth, not like our sidewalks.
Right, that's what I would get at,
I'd
whether we,
rather that be, I feel it'd be safer if we can contract that out. My
Less
crew,
liability.
They're awesome crew, but they could be better on us.
I know we could try to get FERDAP grants and things like that, but we might also get some corporate sponsors or people, to do some of it too.
I know that First Federal has the First Federal Sports Complex in Live Oak, which has a skate park with it. So I was looking to gather information here tonight to take back to our CRA team to see what we can do to possibly help towards it.
Okay. Absolutely.
In addition to it being a really great asset to the community, I grew up at Girls Club, like I'll cry, talking about it. It breaks my heart. I loved it. It was a really nice place to be, to have a sense of community, to meet other people that you wouldn't normally meet. And I really feel like a skate park, even though it seems like, yeah, a skate park, whatever, like you can just go to the park and meet other people. If you look at the sales of skateboards and rollerblades just in the past year from COVID, there's companies that have completely sold out of stock because people are looking to do something outside that is away from other people. So it's created this, it's created this like amazing boom of nostalgia. So it's bigger now than it ever was. Shabazz has been around forever. 20 plus years ago, we were all in here trying to get a skate park built. So that love and that passion for it has not died. And it's a great way to get kids involved, great way to have them exercise without it being like, hey, you're gonna do exercise. It's like, why don't you go skateboard? And they're like, well, you know what, okay. It's a great way to get your heart rate up. It's a great way for your pancreas to create insulin. You know, we have a crazy obesity problem in this world, and it just feeds into diabetes. It helps with a number of medical things, like when you work out, you feel good. Your endorphins go, and you get a really great night's sleep at the end of the day. That leads to having a really great day at school. I'm gonna call you out. Sorry that this is embarrassing. This is my daughter. She's 13. She's been skating since before she could walk. She has scoliosis. Along with physical therapy, skating has helped maintain her core strength and has allowed her to stop from having to get surgery or to wear a brace. So it's got a number of benefits. And I think like something like this could definitely help the community. It's helped me lose like 150 pounds just rollerblading around the lake out there. So I'm all for it, and whatever I can do to help change you guys' mind. Or push you along, maybe your mind's already changed. I'm all for it, whatever I can do to help.
Thank you.
Hey.
Just got a quick statement I wrote down for you guys. My name is Mike McCarthy. I've been an active participant of rollerblading or inline skating for 22 years. Since February 1999, I've had the weekly ritual of rolling around downtown here, jumping over the stairs, grinding the curbs, getting kicked out by the police. There really wasn't any alternative in Lake City to do these stunts. I was even actually arrested once for it, trespassing, but just paid $50 in court costs. I've watched several generations of the local skaters start out a campaign to build a skate park. They're usually bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 14-year-olds. Often though their parents have delusions of grandeur and they want Lake City to build like a $2 million complex just for their kid to skate on. Because of that, the skate park never materializes because they're unrealistic and their kids end up quitting 3 or 4 years later. Mr. Witt's sons, Trey and Trevor, actually used to be skaters 22 years ago when I started. Lake City needs a skate park, not for my own self-interest. I'm just going to skate either way. I usually make the trip down to Alachua or Gainesville or roll around down here. But it's an excellent athletic outlet for kids who don't enjoy team sports. Our community is behind the curve with it. High Springs built a skate park in 2006, although that's long gone because the ramps were wooden, so they died out in the Florida sun. In 2010, the city of Alachua built the skate park. It's a beautiful park, which was constructed very economically, like they were touching on. It's just a flat piece of concrete. And then they bought kits of metal ramps that you could bolt together. Live Oak also built 2 parks in 2009. Brantford built, Madison even built a skate park back in 2008. Brantford worked together with this citizen named Bill Procco, who used to be a pro skateboarder in the 80s. And he did some fundraising and they got some local money. And they even got
$5,000 grant from the Tony Hawk Foundation to build the Proco skate park out there. It's at Hatch Park. And that cost, I think it cost about $75,000 plus the $5,000 grant. But that was a little more expensive than the bolt together metal ramps I'm talking about, because they were out there like forming these artistic concrete pools. So maybe we don't need, it'd be better to have something, you know, try to build something that was economical instead of just dreaming about something that we're never going to get. Ocala even just built a huge complex about 2 years ago, but that part cost over $1 million, and it's probably too big for our community. You know, at one point, I think Mr. Warren and my wife were touching on it, that there was some kind of organization that was here in Lake City that was fundraising to build a skate park. It was like an LLC, I think that was called Lake City Skate Park. And that ran from about 2006 to 2007. Somebody in the local government agreed that land right there in Young's Park, where you have one of the former city pools that's been filled in, there was actually a sign put up by city workers that said Lake City Skate Park coming soon. But that never materialized, and I don't know what happened to the money. I've been waiting 22 years, and I really don't think that it's fair that today's 14-year-old skaters should have to beg for a skate park at a city hall meeting in the year 2043. If all else fails, again, maybe we could just agree to designate a piece of land specifically for the use of skating, so kids don't get arrested being on private property, and then maybe add ramps and features later as you guys have extra money. So that's all I got to say. Any questions? Thank you.
Can I be able to speak? Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Bryce Dickey. I'm a resident of Lake City, Columbia County since 1992. Member Church on the Way, consistent volunteer of the Project ARC that we serve local teens. Network administrator at First Federal and Abbott Rollerblader. First and foremost, I'm a faithful believer in the saving power of Christ. And I'm interested in the reinvestment of our community, especially its youth. A humble but experienced professional serving in this community. I see building a skate park as an opportunity to build a community with local youth, provide a positive activity for youth to engage in that can take the place of less savory activity. A way to serve individuals that are less interested in competitive sports than an individual sport. Provide a place where young people can practice discipline and learn perseverance. I believe the skate park in our city is long overdue. Many cities in our area of similar, even smaller size, have had skate parks for a long time, as Brandon said here. This has been a draw to those areas, producing taxable revenue, providing positive community impact, and giving participants a safe place to engage in healthy activity. A properly built skate park designed with input from experienced advisors built in our area stands to be a larger draw due to our central location and because the several areas that have ill-conceived skate park designs. I'm confident the cost can be largely supplemented by the community and fundraising, because I know there's a lot of interest in this area. Does anybody have any questions for me? I hope you would seriously consider at least designating an area for construction and appointing someone that can design or that can organize and facilitate its progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, are there any,
go ahead.
Are there any additional liabilities, responsibilities for the maintenance of this park? I mean, just maybe insurance purposes, or if somebody should get hurt, we are prepared to purchase insurance on that park.
I think that's kind of where we need to go to Live Oak and Alachua and find out in Ocala, find out what they're doing to cover all that and how they maintain it, supervise it, things like that. Because there's a lot of them around now, so we can get that information to other people.
I think it's a good idea, just to, like I said, the maintenance of it and upkeep, specifically related to insurance and liability.
How does it work now if a kid falls and breaks his arm at Young's Park?
We have city insurance.
Yeah, we have league insurance right now. It's very good insurance. I mean, when we had the cyber attack, it covered everything but $10,000.
But I mean, when a kid gets hurt there, the city is liable for their medical bills, or?
Not necessarily.
Well, it depends. If the city failed to do something and they were warned ahead of time, there's liability. If they weren't warned ahead of time, in some cases, there's no liability, or they go in and independently investigate every claim, and then they come up with a decision.
Because obviously at the basketball court, a kid can break his ankle.
Right.
We know at a skate park, a kid's gonna break his wrist. I mean, there's no way around it.
It's like making sure to enforce the use of helmets, elbow pads, knee pads, wrist guards, and things like that.
How do you do that?
And there's a warning rule posted at every skate park as to what you should do and how you should do it. And so that covers a lot of the liability. Here's what I hope would never happen again to Lake City and the youth, is that we begin to try to use a liability, and I'm not saying this is happening, but use a liability situation verbiage to say, liability, skate park, we're gonna deny our kids this. And all I think we're gonna do is deny our kids something positive and accept them into a pipeline to prison. And so.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
Right, yeah, it's no
What if somebody
different.
gets hurt today?
It's on Young's Park property, it's no difference. And I just think that this is a conversation that we should just push forward and get it done and get it behind us. This town smaller than us, don't even have a liability question that comes up, you just get it done.
Sure. The liability is significantly decreased when the risk of injury is open and obvious, such as like a skate park or at Young's Park, jungle gym equipment and things. That certainly shouldn't be a deterrent on the overall idea of the project. Live Oak has figured it out. Other communities around us have figured it out. And we can look at options with the local insurer. But again, the liability for the city and property owner when the risks are open and obvious, such as that, is significantly decreased.
When I was in St. Cloud, we had a mud run there, and we had 73 obstacles. And I choose not to do 2 of them because I thought I'd break my neck if I did those 2. But you had to crawl under barbed wire, you had to go through waist deep in some areas, and all kinds of things that are way more dangerous than any of these things that are brought up. And what we did is we raised money for a woman to have a new heart. You know, they raised about $45,000 in that one event. So, you know, this sort of stuff, I think is, the liability is way less than some of these other activities that a lot of cities are doing.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the skate park, but
Well, I reached out to Live Oak. I got all that information too, the reliability and all that information also. There's a form that if you're going to go into the park, you fill out for the liability part of it.
So that park is staffed all the time?
No.
Live Oak is not.
Well, last, I just went and skated on both.
Yeah, there's
No,
a
never
form
been.
that.
Skating to your wrist.
Yeah, the guy sent the rec director sent.
But yeah, I don't think that's true in Live Oak. That's not true in Live Oak. I take my kids there a lot. But I do think there might be a sign that says inherent risk, you know, at your own.
I took a picture I got on my phone when I came.
I think they have a notice of.
okay, let's have one at a time.
I apologize. I think they, at all these skate parks, they have a huge notice of that instructs you to go on their local city's website, fill out that type of waiver, and also to wear a helmet And if you're not abiding by either wearing a helmet or filling out that waiver, it's your responsibility because you've seen the posted warning at the skate park. You're waiving your rights to litigate, I guess.
Yes, Chair. I just want to show y'all a picture. While I was coming back until last night when it visited Live Oak Skate Park, I went and took a picture of the posted signage. You feel free to mess around. So that's what Live Oak has. We got to evolve beyond what we have for our recreation purposes. So it's going on.
Read it.
What is it, open up to the public?
Yeah,
You tell
but I
me.
do think there's a sign that just says, you know, there's
So
risks
that's the
inherent.
picture sign that's posted.
Yeah, I posted it at the Live Oak Skate Park.
Drone.
Both of them are wide open.
He gave me the forms where they have to do the liability.
Yeah, both of them are wide open.
I really have a clue.
I think probably we're all in favor of
Pardon
the
me?
state park. So what do we need to do as a committee to move forward?
Well, I think the issue is going to be, I mean, there's a place for it, but how are we going to pay for it? I think that we need, that's the issue that we need.
So Thomas and I will work on the
I
grant.
think he said they were going to approach it from the angle of seeking grant funds.
And corporate funds, because a lot of times companies are willing to help out, you know, we have a lot of generous companies here and they've given to a lot of other things. And this would be one that probably they want to be, it's more visible, it gives them more exposure.
I would like to move that the CRA fund at least 50,000 through CRA funds for this park, and then find the difference if it takes it through corporate money or grants. We have money to spend. If we're talking about spending 50 grand on a portable restroom, we can spend 50 on a skate park.
Thank you.
If it's not in, is that a,
But is that it? If
if it's not in.
it's not in CRA
Young's
district?
Park is in the CRA.
Huh?
Young's Park is not in the
So it's
CRA?
not a CRA,
No,
I'm sorry?
it's not in the
not in
CRA.
the CRA district.
Okay, well, I guess I was confused as to why we were doing the tennis court and the basketball court updates, but okay. I thought it was in the CRA.
I think though we can get a lot of funds through corporate sponsors and through the FERDAP grants. It's a fairly, I think that would, you know, it's the kind of thing they usually would love to fund.
I'm gonna get ahead of myself here, I guess, but well, I'll wait, but go ahead.
Do we need a motion to approve the construction?
Sure, to recommend to the council to authorize to go ahead, so we spend our time on it.
Well, I'll move that we make a motion that we move forward. We're approving that skate park in the city of Lake City.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, let's receive it by saying aye. Opposes will be like sign. Okay. The ayes have it. Item 15, walking park.
Yeah, this again, it joins into the whole skate park concept and exercising. I did a lot of talking with different people in the community, also via social media. We love the lake, the Soda Lake. Unfortunately, there's a lot of duck poop and there's a lot of inconvenience. There's a lot of shin issues with the curve of the lake. And it's a long travel to the high school, and sometimes we can inconvenience the high school. We have to wait until they're done doing what they're doing to use their track. Again, Memorial Stadium is probably the least utilized piece of property that the city has. And I've worked with Mr. Thomas Herring, and there's a path forward to put a track at Memorial Stadium so people in the community who can't afford to go to the gym, but given the same reasons that Ms. Lacy said, that have health issues can walk. We talked about putting little workout stations around the track so people can get the full benefit of exercising. Mr. Thomas, hearing he worked on that. I think that it's extremely necessary due to the public health issues that we have. And I think it's extremely doable. And I think that you would find that there's huge benefit in it. And I think that you would find that it would be extremely, extremely highly used. It's more people that would be in favor of it than not. And I would love to also see this board, along with the motion that they made to grant the skate park, also grant the track, and allow the city council, Mr. Heffenberg and Mr. Thomas, to also work on corporate funding, grant money to push this issue through. Also potentially more lighting and maybe let it operate until I think maybe 10, 11 o'clock is when the lights go off at 10, they go off over at Young's Park, and make this thing just a nice place for the community. So families can exercise, they can play together, kids over there playing, parents are exercising, don't have to worry about a babysitter because the kids over there playing on the skate park, right in close proximity as they exercise and walk. It's just such a huge benefit.
Are you talking about an asphalt track?
Thomas and I discussed, I think, a concrete track.
Concrete or asphalt.
Concrete or asphalt, I was looking at both to see which one. Maybe we can get some buy-in from some of the people there in our community that does asphalt that we do work with. Emerson Columbia. I'll call Michael and have to talk to little Joey them and see whether or not they'd be willing to help us out over there. Okay. And so I just can't see why we would say no to some of these positive things that the community are working on together and can bring such a dynamic, positive impact to community growth, socializing, camaraderie. We just need way, way more of this. We have too less of this in our community. And again, smaller towns have it. We're just running 20 years behind the 8 ball for some reason. I have no idea why.
Can I ask you a question? I don't get where the track is gonna be. It's gonna be like around Memorial Stadium or?
Mr. Thomas, I think you've pretty much pre-laid it out, haven't you?
Ms. Lovely, it should be in the package.
I have this picture, but it just says track here. I was just, is this the track here? Around the
That's
dark
outlined in
line?
the dark black
Is that
line?
in the football?
No, that's on the
It's
outside.
outside of football.
Just like at the high school, it's on the outside.
But in front of the stands.
But in front of the stands, but on the
Oh, okay,
outside.
I got you.
It would be identical to Columbia High versus we would be either asphalt or we would be concrete, depending on the type of buy-in we would get from the community and sponsors of either concrete material or asphalt material.
Would it be, could they use it for competitions, or I mean, would it be legitimate for use of track meets, or is it just a fun track?
Well, initially, I mean, we can go as big as you want to. No.
He's worried about whether or not people are gonna show up for our weekly race competition. And whether people will be able to sit in the bleachers and watch our races.
I just know that Lawrence Davis is really working hard to try to get a track at the high school and
It won't be as wide.
It won't be as wide as the one at the high school. It wouldn't be one made for competition. It would just be one made for recreation and exercise purposes. And I think we can.
So similar to the skate park not being in the CRA, obviously Memorial Stadium isn't either. So do these not need to come from recreation funds?
Well, we don't have anything budgeted for this. If we go right now and apply for the grants, we can do this thing sooner than waiting for another budget. You know, and I think we want to try to do it as soon as possible. And, you know, if we're going out and asking for corporate help if you ask for 2 projects, you probably are going to get better success than just asking for 1. You know, I've had it where, and there's a kind of an art to it too, as far as when you ask them and all that kind of thing. But I'm confident there are companies here that would love to participate, and by having two projects, you're probably gonna get more funding than you are corporate-wise and privately than just one project. And the 200,000 with the FERDAP grant will go a long way, and we may be looking at other grant opportunities. There's a possibility there's going to be additional grants out there. You've got stimulus funds and things in the works. So I think this would be a great start. And if we're short a bit, I think we can come really close to raising all the money.
Can I, Mr. Chairman, if you would, can I ask Mr. Effenberg a quick question? And now I dismiss myself, please.
Go ahead.
Mr. Effenberg, we do and want to make this a priority. I do understand, and I don't know whether or not we budgeted the money that we got, the 900-some thousand we got from the county. Has that been budgeted? And I know we got 5 million trickling in.
None of that's been budgeted yet.
Right, and so we can use some of that money potentially as a priority to go toward some of these because it hadn't been budgeted yet. I'm just asking.
Yes, that's a possibility, but there's also going to be a third set for infrastructure.
Right, but then we have the 5 million coming from the treasury for COVID that the treasury hadn't put any guidelines on, but we know that it's coming, and they so far have admitted to the fact that we don't have to use it for COVID related purpose necessarily. That's the language thus far.
There is an allowance for infrastructure.
Right.
And if this counts as infrastructure, it's possible that we can use some for that.
Right. So if we can't get it fast enough in grant, we still have 900,000 from the county, a potential 5 million come. So this can get done.
Right. In addition to those two funds, there's also going to be a third fund.
Right.
Where you can apply for infrastructure grants.
All right. So I just want to just walk away from the podium knowing that the citizens of this town is going to get a skate park finally this time, and we're going to get a track, and so that we can have things that we can plan and do as a family and as
sure.
people.
If everybody's approving this, I believe we can cover the lion's share of everything with the FERDAP grant and the corporate sponsors. I believe we have the ability to raise it because we've done it for the fire department, we've done it for other activities, and people are very generous.
Thank you, Chairman.
Ms. Warren, before you leave, now with the track,
yes, sir.
If it's approved and as stated, will this interfere with any other usage of the stadium there?
No, sir. That was the thing that I was most concerned about because I'm very into the football games taking place. I grew up there. I played Little League football there. And we also split the games between the board that I sit on with Anna Maddox and also Memorial. And so there was no interference. And the community that I've talked to always know that Little football, no matter what was going on, would prioritize, just like at the football stadium at the high school, that would precede anything that we would do. So we would wait until if there was a game going on, then you would use it after the game is finished. Similar to if they're out there practicing, you use the stadium once they're done. But remember, that's only a month out of the year that they use that stadium. It's just the August, September cycle for Little League football.
Well, that's one of the concerns I have about the overlap. I mean, the interference with the usage, some of the programs that are going on in there, and if people can't walk around there, utilize that, but then it may create some, some friction. And that's why I asked the question, how would that?
I think that there is enough courtesy and genuine respect, and we can set times and rules just like we do anything else to say, hey, the park is open for walking at this time to this time. And then during those particular months, like we do anything else, it's open from this time to that time. I think dates and times could make it in such a way that the track can coexist with the programs. When you say programs, I only know of one program. And so it's not plural to my knowledge. It's just in August, we do the Little League football. So there's only one program out of the whole year. And so I think, do we say one program for the whole year and we leave 11 months vacant where it can be used for the community to exercise and everything else? Do we just say no to a track because we use it only one time a year for maybe 45 days.
We did it at the high school.
Yeah, it doesn't interfere.
really wasn't a
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, that was my question. You answered it because,
I understand, yeah, you're thinking about conflict and issues and fallouts and things of that nature. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, but I think we're adult enough and we can work through those type of minor challenges.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Hildenberger, we all realize that the Columbia High School track programs did an intense effort to raise money for a new track for their track program out there. I wouldn't want to see us compete with them for corporate sponsors. So maybe we could try to put the funds, a lot of funds that we get through grants for this track, because I certainly am for this, but I think as a community, we shouldn't try to compete with our local high school where our kids go and play. That's just my opinion.
What if we just did that for the skate park? Because we are also helping the high school or the school district with some in-kind help with their parking lot and stuff. We're putting a lot of effort towards that. If I could just approach a few people, don't have to go hog wild about it, but I think everything helps, just give a little bit of a buffer.
Well, I agree with that, and I'm certainly for the skate park, and I didn't want us to be seen as we're out competing against the track of the high school.
I think what Mr. Henry and Mr. Warren were talking about, we're using some of the local concrete companies to help pave a concrete track. The high school track is not in the realm of anything that people do around here with the specialized rubber and all that. So I don't think we would be talking to the same type of people.
I just wanted to say that.
The FERDAP grant is due this September. So as soon as we get a go forward, where we can start working on that grant paperwork. It's due September.
So what you need is,
just tell us, do you want us to go forward on the grant and we'll work on it?
And you try to get the grant in early so you can get some comments back and you can maybe even enhance it before the deadline. And that helps maximize the ability to get the grants.
We need a motion from.
what do we need more
Yes.
than what you do? I mean,
Yes, that would be, yes.
okay.
I would make a motion for us to move forward with exploring the grant for the skate park and the track.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, just receive it by saying aye. Any opposed, like sign? Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, item 16, workout station. Address that.
Probably Terry, she's been dealing with that issue.
We actually have a video that we'll watch in just a few minutes. But it's through the National Fitness Campaign, and we've already received a $30,000 grant for it. We missed it this year, but we can go ahead and apply for it. She says that we're going to get it, but the deadline was March the 25th, so we'll have till the next March to get this done, because we didn't have a meeting to talk to y'all about it. And it's actually we'll watch the video in just a minute, but it's a really neat, it's like it has different stations on it, and they also have it where each person that goes and uses it, and it's free for the people to use it, an app that goes on your phone that teaches you how to do all the different stations. It keeps up with what you've done, things like that. And if we decide to do this, we can decide if we want to put it over at Wilson Park, or if we want to do it at Memorial Stadium, what we're doing with that over there now. So it's just something that we wanted you to look at to see if it's something that we may be interested in doing. Everybody's wanting to get outside and do different things. And like I said, we can go around to different corporate sponsors. I do know that I talked to Miss Donna this morning. Altrusa donated $10,000 toward a fitness program. We still have that money. So we already have $30,000 grant for it plus the 10,000. So I think we can get up there and get some stuff going. So you'll just watch the video and it's like 2 minutes. So.
Oh, I don't know sound. Hold on.
Goodness. Okay, I think you can tell.
Okay. Comment from committee on the video or the workstation?
I think it's a good idea, but especially if we're getting grants and we've got some money already.
I agree, yeah.
I want one.
We got to start.
How big are they?
It is a 38 by 38 area. It has 7 stations on it. It does come with a 25-year warranty on all the pieces on the thing. And that you also, like I said, each person that comes up to the station, it's on their app. They're able to, it'll tell them how to do it, all that good stuff. And that's free for the people who come up and use the.
And how much does that cost?
Nothing. You mean the total for the?
Yeah.
It's 130,000 total, but we get the $30,000 grant for that. So 100,000 plus we've already have received 10,000 from our Altrusa for a fitness program.
So we have usable approximately 40,000.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But like I said, now we just missed the cutoff for it for this year. So we'll have to start working on it for March for next year. So we just didn't want to miss that deadline again. That's why we wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
I love the idea. I'd like to maybe, since we've got some time, explore maybe some other options. I know that Altrusa, is real big and I think they may come off with some more money too.
Yeah.
That to do a fitness thing. So that's pretty expensive, but maybe there's something, it's pretty impressive, but maybe there's something out there that's just as functional.
And I can keep looking. I just knew that the app is, everybody's going to the app and keep up with all of what you've done on each piece is going to be, that's huge. But I will keep looking, but I just wanted y'all to be aware that we did receive a grant for that.
What's the designated location for that facility?
We're still talking about a location, whenever Sylvester came to us about, stuff over at Memorial Stadium, we talked about there. We've also talked about over at Wilson Park. And then we also talked about
if y'all remember the plans for the Wilson Park, Lake DeSoto, which we have a duck problem there. Lake DeSoto as a corporate, we talked about Lake Shore Hospital verbally said that they'll give us the helicopter pad area because they were going to move it closer to the hospital at the time. And that's where we discussed putting a physical fitness and a dog park, but the Humane Society is doing the dog park, so we're out of that business. So, but right there where the helicopter pad is, that's what was discussed.
Altrusa money was designated for the lake area.
Yes, it was.
From our fitness program that we did, and the club is no longer doing that program, so. In fact, y'all got the last money.
And we're still sitting on it.
Speaking of that, Lake DeSoto area, I think, I heard whispers about the ducks. Now, they are gonna be an issue. Concerning, the mess that they make in that area and all around, because ducks be flying all across the lake and in people's backyard. Is there any way we could trap some up and get them out of there?
Well, there is. We have been, I have letters from the Florida Game Commission requesting us to relocate the Muscovy ducks.
Good.
That's the white and black looking ones. They are not a native Florida duck. Their stool has acid and blood in it, and it kills the lake. That's one reason they're asking us to remove them from there and Lake DeSoto. Lake Isabella. That's why the water will look like milky, ugly, creamy, because of their stool. That's what it's at. Now quit laughing over here. But the mallards and all, and the whistling ducks, the real loud whistling ones you hear around there, they are a Florida native duck. But it's the Muscovy ducks aren't. And that's why they've sent us information of we need to get them relocated or whatever.
I have a wildlife permit, I'll come get them. I have a wildlife permit if you want me to come get them.
You come get everyone you want.
I'm serious, I'll take them.
Will they remove them, Thomas?
Well, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. USDA services used to do that. I've had them come get some of the big geese that was attacking kids.
Yeah.
And all that, but a few years back, lack of funding, they cut that program out.
I'll call them tomorrow.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, would, maybe in discussion with, the folks who wanted to do the exercise, I guess I call it exercise pad, would they be opposed to joining that project with, the skate park and the, track? And then we'll have everything under one roof in one location. And so you can work out, you can play, you can exercise, and you can skate. It's just a thought.
In Branford, that's how they have it set up. The skate park is located directly adjacent to an exercise park. Yeah, they're like 5 feet apart.
And track.
And track.
And track, yeah.
And in Brantford also, the track goes around the baseball field, so it's similar setup to how Memorial Stadium would be. It gets very much used and it's very appreciated by families, especially moms out there in strollers and stuff. They didn't have that safe area where cars aren't going. So it's nice to have it all together there.
The more things you have there, the safer I would feel that it would be for families.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Also, that backside of that lake gets very sketchy a lot of times, and I know that we have the police department for a while going around the lake come dusk time, making sure people were okay and getting off the track before it got dark. So if it was across from Lake Park, maybe it had more lighting and it had more area where more people could be, I feel like that would be a safer place for people.
I think as an altruism who helped secure that money, I would just be happy to see it used.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because that was what, 3-4 years ago now? So, but I would, as an altruism, I would not be opposed to putting it.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be opposed to having it over where the other ones are. I think everything needs to be in close proximity to each other. And in addition to the problem that we have with the ducks over here, you have no control over them and the ducks, and it's going to be a messy area when people are attempting to utilize it, because of the duck pieces and that kind of thing. Not knocking the area over there, I mean, it's a good area, but it's just not going to be a clean site, for lack of a better word, that way. And I think it would be a lot better if we are going to invest in that it be in the area of the other projects that we are contemplating on putting over there.
If I may, I need to take care of my four-legged companion. It started getting dark. He's back out of the marriage. I just want to make this observation. I attend a lot of meetings. This meeting has been one of the better meetings I ever attended. Can do it in the corporation. I never thought I'd sit there for 2 hours and be happy with what I've seen. It's really been a great meeting. I've been there for 2 hours. I look like, man, 2 hours? So I mean, you really was doing things. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate being here, that can do and willingness to work and to make things happen. But that's a real positive thing. The other observation is this, as a attendee that's at the meeting, going forward for this meeting and then other committee meeting and city council meeting, I'm just on the agenda that the members got access to papers and pictures and the people in the audience, when you're discussing it and it's not on the screen, then I'm kind of at a loss. And with this technology we got now, it just seems to me that if it's in the agenda package, and if you can put it on the screen, then those of us in the public ought to be able to see it. I got my phone and my phone gone dead. So, I couldn't see the track because the phone did at that time. So I would think that that's a technology that can happen. At least I go to Gainesville meeting and everything they discuss is in the agenda package, gets up on the screen. So so that's just an observation.
We can do that.
Just think what it's like when you going through all those papers. Yeah. And you're talking about the color of the basketball court and all like that, and we just sitting out here, we don't know how it looks. So with this technology, I think that can happen, won't cost any money. It's better than putting a whole lot of copy. I like trees personally. The best paper we use, the better it's going to be. But that's just observation going forward. For the regular meeting, Mr. Mayor, and for your meeting, Mr. Jefferson, going forward, that if you're going to be discussing agenda item, you ought to be able to show it to the public.
We can do that.
I agree with that, Mr. Bowles.
See.
Okay. Okay, we're down to future topics. Anyone has any suggestions for future topics? I know that we're expecting some information. We were on back on that's already on the agenda. So
I'd like to say something real quick.
Power to that. Okay.
I've been on this advisory board since we restarted it. Was at the organizational meetings. We met at the library in the 6th grade to just kind of figure out if we could ever spend this money again that kind of got hidden over into the side. And I'm proud of how we spent our money. I just want you to know that I'm not for spending CRA money to fund the new city hall.
I agree.
This has been money to beautify downtown and help kids, and I just don't think it needs to be used in the general fund towards changing city hall. So that's just my opinion. I know that was in the paper a couple weeks ago, that was discussed in the meeting. I don't agree with it.
We can figure out other ways to do it.
Okay.
Mr. Jefferson,
Okay.
I have a few things,
Go ahead.
if you don't mind.
Sure.
I just wanted to talk to y'all, to let you know about a few things that I have planned. On
We
April,
can't hear you.
On April 24th, we're gonna have a community yard sale at Wilson Park. So I just wanted y'all to know about that. And
flyers, let me know. We're also gonna have a spring market on Saturday, May the 8th. It's like my holiday market we had this past Christmas. We already have 60 vendors for this, so please come out. Then after that, it's gonna start that same day, May 8th. It's gonna be growers and makers market. It's gonna be kind of like a farmer's market. And that's gonna be every second and fourth Saturday in Olustee Park from May to November. And that's gonna be like your fresh produce, your local honey. I have a meat company coming out of Quincy. It's called Quincy Cattle Company. I have Drigger sausage that's gonna be here. Like I said, honey, there's gonna be crafts, things like that. And that's gonna be every second and fourth Saturday in Olustee Park. So if you know anybody who would like to be a vendor, you can send them to me, but we hope y'all visit and come and see us.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Thank you. Any other items? Last thoughts?
I'm bringing pajamas next meeting.
Bring food too.
Not, we'll be adjourned.
That's a long meeting.
Yeah.